for Your Life is an amazing podcast, and it is presented and hosted by myself, Caro, and my sweet dog Sparky. Give it up for him. I hope you're ready. Enjoy. Welcome to Go For Your Life, back again, and we're still doing these amazing vegan hero series, as I've been calling them. I spoke to Keegan, I spoke to Giacomo, and I'm now speaking to Alex today. Welcome, Alex.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Where are we speaking from? Like, where are you? I know it's the UK, but where are we in the UK at the moment?
It's Birmingham, so right in the middle, basically.
Super cool. I knew I was speaking to England, but I wasn't sure. But Birmingham is really cool. That's awesome. Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. Before I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about yourself, I'll tell my listeners that I actually contacted you because I was so totally amazed by a movie you made called 73 Cows, which I think everybody should see all over the world. Such a great movie about this beef farmer really who starts changing his life, starts understanding what he's doing to these beautiful creatures. And then I reached out to you and we made a connection through Facebook really. And here we are doing a podcast together. Pretty cool. Yeah, no, thanks.
Thanks for that introduction, and I really, appreciate you having me on to chat, and really glad you enjoyed the film.
It was so good. So, because how long ago? Like, talk a little bit about Alex. Like, what do you do, and also I'd like to know when the process of starting 73 Cows, when that started. So let us know what's that all about?
Yeah, so basically I'm a documentary filmmaker with a focus on shining light on issues of ethics or trying to basically expose truth where I don't think it's sort of widespread. I'm now sort of doing that full time, which is great. It's always been a dream of mine to make documentaries ever since a very, very early age, and now finally in the position where I'm doing that. But I was a corporate filmmaker, so making that I didn't really necessarily agree with the messages of, and I didn't enjoy that at all. But it was a kind of like, you have to do it to pay the bills. And 73 Cows was a project I did in my spare time. As a corporate filmmaker, just to be working on something that I could actually be passionate about and that I was kind of like morally in line with. And the result of 73 Cows has meant that I can, for now at least, just keep making the sort of films that I want to make, which is really nice to be able to do. But I mean, I could talk a little bit about kind of how 73 Cows came about. If you wanted.
Yes, please.
So basically, like, I'd been looking around for a documentary subject to kind of throw all of my attention to, something that would just be a really enjoyable project to get moving with. And my wife found this article on Jay Wilde, and it was all about what he intended to do and what he's done, and we just thought, wow, it's this amazing guy, really, and just instantly thought that would make a great documentary. So I contacted the farm. I could only find like one place where I could contact him, and that was through Facebook. It was like Bradley Nook Farm at facebook.com, and I couldn't find a number or anything, so I thought I'll just drop him an email, a Facebook message, and to be honest, I thought they'd probably never get back to me, because, why would they why would they want someone they don't know just coming and filming with them? But they were really really open to the idea of me making this film, and they were really accommodating, and they were just really welcoming, and they just said, you can come and go whenever you please, you can film whatever you want, ask us whatever you want. So it all went from there, really. That was kind of the start of it.
That's awesome. So really it's just like an article turning into an actual documentary then. That's really amazing. Like how... Yeah. And so when, because I feel like when you look at the movie, the documentary, you really have the feeling that you guys were there a lot, right? Like, and it seems like for quite a long time, because you really see a very big timeline in the movie itself. Like, was it a long project? Like, you spent a lot of time there?
Yeah, particularly for a short film, it was a very long time. Because it was over 7 months. Although there were only, I think, 6 or 7 filming days that we actually did, it was over a period of 7 months, because there were certain like landmark dates that we had to film, and there was various things like not being able to film cows on the field because the weather wasn't good enough, and the ground not being being too mushy to have cows on, so not being able to film at this sanctuary and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah, when we started out, we never expected it to be a 7-month long thing. But like you said, I'm glad it sort of, I think it kind of makes the film better, because
totally.
I'm glad you say that. It's like, has that feel that it's kind of like you're watching over the seasons and that you're with them for longer. So it kind of worked out in that way. But yeah, for a short film, it's definitely a long shooting time.
And was it also hard for you, because it is short? It is only 15 minutes, right, from memory?
Yeah.
About that. Was it hard for you to do the editing? Because did you have a lot of material that you then had to shorten into a short movie? Yeah.
It was like the interviews is the hardest bit to cut down. And we felt the interview with Jay alone was a few hours. Catcher, the same. And so trying to like find within that interview which bits are like absolutely necessary and which bits are really going to help with telling the story, and which bits are kind of not necessary. That's a really hard sort of task, because there were a lot of details that could have gone in. There was quite a nice backstory with Jay's dad that we spoke about for a while. Yeah, that was the first draft, and whilst it was nice, I just thought actually it doesn't really work with the story that I'm trying to tell, because I really wanted it to be short enough that people would pass it around and watch it in their lunch breaks and things. So I didn't want it to be too waffly.
Well, I think it's definitely also very powerful that it is that short, because I think you are, especially the story is very, it really grabs you, and you just, and I think a lot of people now, they have such, problems with looking at something for a longer time period. Like, people just don't have the concentration anymore. So I think it's perfect for that, because you tell the story so well, and it isn't too long for people to really be in it completely for the whole time period. I think, like it's very good in that sense.
I think people, like, social media has completely changed the way people watch films and take in information. That's good and bad. There's positive aspects of that and there's negative aspects of that.
Totally.
But one of the main things of that is, like, people will, like, there is now a platform for short films, and that's social media. About 10 years ago, something like that, although you had things like YouTube, maybe you'd have to go back longer than 10 years, like 10, 15 years ago. there wasn't a platform for short films in the way that there is now. And so hitting that sort of 15-minute mark is something I really wanted to do, just to make sure that it was something that people would happily spend time on, and they wouldn't sort of look at it and be like, oh, it's 25 minutes now, I'll leave it. I think when you do 15 minutes, if people don't really know much about the subject even, because it's so short, they'll give it, they're more likely to give it their time. I really, really wanted to do that. So
from the beginning, you knew you wanted it short.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that was down to things like the social media aspect, and the fact that I wanted it to get into I wanted to enter it into festivals under like the short film banner. But also just because obviously it was like a no budget thing. So going up to make a feature film would have been, a bit unrealistic for us.
Yeah.
So.
And do you still make films corporately? Like, are you still also doing the corporate stuff, or are you now only basing your focus on the things you love to make?
Yeah, I've moved away from it, all the corporate stuff now, which was always the kind of dream. But I'm just hoping it lasts really, and I can keep making the films that I want to make. I feel like I've served my time with the corporate stuff now.
But that is interesting though, because I think that's a big difference between you and Keegan and Giacomo, who never, like when they started making these movies, they had absolutely no experience in filmmaking or had any, like they really just kind of taught themselves. Whereas you actually did a course and everything for filmmaking, or was it, how did you roll into the corporate stuff?
So I did film at university, and like most university students studying film, you do all these like directing classes and stuff, and you come out of university and you think, well, I'm going to get a job directing straight away, and then you come out of university and you can't get a job as even the T-boy on any production, and so I basically spent a lot of time trying to sort of do my own stuff, where I'd sort of approach a company and say, I'll make you a film for a ridiculously low amount of money. And here and there I'd get work as like an extra on a shoot, just to kind of get a feel for what actual film sets were like, and every now and again get a job as like an assistant where you'd be making the tea or something. But I found it basically impossible to get an actual permanent job within the film industry, because it's such a difficult industry to break into. And without being too negative about it, it's very much based on connections, and it's a very nepotistic industry.
Yeah, it's not what you know, it's who you know, isn't it, in that industry?
Yeah. And when you don't know anybody, so I didn't really manage to hit the ground running after university. So I spent a lot of time thinking it's probably an ambition that I'm not going to really realize. So it was quite disheartening, and I think a lot of young filmmakers go through that exact same thing and end up ultimately going their own way about things, which from the sounds of it is what Keegan's done, and it's kind of like what I've had to do in the end. Obviously 73 Cows was completely unfunded, and like no one would back it, because they said no one will be interested in a film about a middle-aged man in the countryside. And so more and more filmmakers are sort of going their own way and turning their back on that traditional work your way up through the ranks type route that was, is quite traditional.